Operations Management Function 3.2. So let's revise. Operations Management System is how large-scale organisations actually make their product or service and the process they use to optimise production. Operations management is about producing goods and or services based on business objectives. What are business objectives? They are the desired goal, outcome or specific result that an organisation intends to achieve. And business strategies are the actions that an organisation takes to achieve specific objectives. Large-scale manufacturing service organisations differ in their operations systems. The core objective of all organisations is to efficiently produce goods or services. Operations management is the strategy used to achieve this objective. Manufacturing versus service organisations. So what is the difference between a manufacturing organisation and a service organisation? There are 5 key differences. The first one, goods. The output of a service organisation, such as consultancy, training or maintenance, for example, is intangible. Manufacturers produce physical goods that customers can see and touch, which is tangible. Inventory. Service organisations, unlike manufacturers, do not hold inventory. They create a service when a client requires it. Manufacturers produce goods for stock with inventory levels aligned to forecasts of market demand. Customers. Service organisations do not produce a service unless a customer requires it. Service organisations generally produce a service tailored to customers' needs, such as 12 hours of consultancy, plus 14 hours of design and 10 hours of installation. Whereas manufacturers can produce goods without a customer order or forecast of customer demand. Then there is labour. A service organisation recruits people with specific knowledge and skills in the service that it offers. Service delivery is labour intensive and cannot be easily automated. Manufacturers, on the other hand, can automate many of their production processes to reduce their labour requirements. Although some manufacturing organisations are labour intensive, particularly in countries where labour costs are low. And the 5th difference is location. Service organisations do not require a physical production site. The people creating and delivering the service can be located anywhere. For example, IBM business consultants use communication networks to access the most appropriate service skills and knowledge from offices around the world. Manufacturers, though, must have a physical location for their production and stock holding operations. Inputs. Inputs are the resources used in the process of production. Some resources are owned by the organisation, while others are from suppliers. Inputs differ between manufacturing and service organisations. You can divide inputs into 6 categories. Firstly, there are raw materials, and this can include water, trees, metal, oil or electricity. Capital equipment, which includes the plant and property necessary to conduct operations, for example, factories, hospitals, office buildings. Machinery and equipment can include computers, robots, trucks, X-ray equipment. Labour. This is the people involved in the operation process. Then there is information. This can come from a variety of sources and contributes to the transformation process, for example, information about the latest technology. Time. The efficient use of time is critical to all organisations. Coordinating resources within appropriate time frames limit costs and wastage. Money. This is considered to be the most flexible resource as it can be converted into material, capital, or labour. Next comes the process or transformation. This is the conversion of the inputs, or the resources, into the outputs, which are the goods or services. The process or transformation is the main concept of the operations management. It can include cutting and forming metal, plastic moulding, medical operations, or even statistical analysis. In their search for greater efficiency, developments in technology are constantly changing the processes available. And lastly, we have the outputs. Outputs refer to the end results of an organisation's efforts, the service or product that is delivered or provided to the customer. This can be goods and services usually for sale. For example, DVD players, textbooks, healthcare, entertainment, education, and so on. Here are some examples of the organisation operations system. For example, school. This is considered a service organisation. The inputs can include students, staff, building, the curriculum, time, and money. The process or transformation is the teaching of the students and their assessment. The output is generally educated, employable graduates. Healthcare is another service organisation. Inputs here can include doctors, nurses, the hospital or surgery, medical supplies, equipment, and again, time and money. The process or transformation can include examinations, operations, monitoring, medication, or therapy. And the output is a healthy patient. The outputs of these services are intangible. Here are some examples of manufacturing organisations. For example, building products. The inputs may include water, steel, electricity, workers, time, money. The process or transformation can include design, manufacturing, and quality control, and the output is the building product. A bakery, inputs can include the plant, electricity, equipment, flour, salt, yeast, water, time, and money. The process could include mixing, kneading, baking, and the output, a loaf of bread. This is a tangible product because you can touch it. Here is a short video about the operations process, the inputs, transformations, and outputs.
There are 6 categories of inputs used by any organisation in the production of goods and services. They are human resources, the labour needed, raw materials and components, either unprocessed materials from a primary supplier or component parts made by another manufacturer, capital, plant and equipment, the machinery and tools needed, time, a critical, non-renewable resource. Information and knowledge for the undertaking of every part of the operations processes. And finance, to purchase inputs and keep the operation running. We'll look at some examples of different businesses and identify the various inputs to their operations processes. At Hummingbird Coffee in Christchurch, raw materials in the form of green coffee beans are imported. Human resources and specialised equipment, coffee roasters, are used to produce the final product for distribution. Hummingbird also runs 2 of its own cafes and supplies a range of equipment to the industry.
We also import a lot of machinery, so we supply machinery, grinders, and do the technical aspect with the cafes side of things and training and so. everything that goes with it.
At Vega Press, the design and content of the finished product is firstly determined with the client.
Then we have to take it from that process with human resources. We've processed all that to further human resources who then put it on a printing press, and a printing press can cost anywhere from $1 million to $6 million depending on how big it is, and that has to be financed. We need water, solvents, inks, paper obviously, which is a large part of printing, energy, because we need light, power, we need compressed air, all those factors are combined together to put the ink on the paper. Then the paper goes to the finishing process,